Hello everybody. In this video we're going to start the other type of the loops, which is the while loops. The while loops is kind of similar to the for loop, but the only difference is how it proceeds with the process and how it will stop the looping. So we saw before in the previous videos about the for loops that you can tell it to do 5, 10, 100,000 loops depending on how many terms you put after the for word. And we saw this before. But in the while loop, you have a condition. It's not actually a number of loops. So you do not know exactly how many loops, but you know that there is a specific condition. When it's not satisfied, the loop will stop. I'll just solve this simple example here first, and then we'll see the next one, which is kind of similar to the first. So the first, it asks us to write an M file using a for loop to determine the sum of the first 20 terms in the series. So what I'm gonna do is, let me just pick the folder um, here, and I'll close these two and start a new M file. And in this M file, I will call it for 1 for instance, and I want to calculate the sum of the first 20 terms of the series 3k squared from 1 to 20. So what I'm gonna do is to put for um, k equals 1 to 20, and then I will calculate any term. I will call it g equals 3 multiplied by k power 2, and I do not I just need to get the sum of these terms, so I'll put another term f equals I'll put kind of f equals 0 first, and then f will have the same value of before plus g, and so what it's gonna do is it's gonna start with f equals 0 and then calculate g based on the value of k here, and then it's gonna put a new value of f, which is gonna be 0 plus 3k squared, and then in the next loop it's gonna be 3k squared and then add it to the new 3k squared, and then you will get the at the end you will ask it to print f, and it's again giving you 8,610. I did it on yeah, and this is what I did in Excel. So this is the k from 1 to 20, and this is the sum. It's 8,610. If you want to get the value of or the all the values of g, you can put a counter I equals 1, and then it's gonna be g of I, and then you can simply get rid of this f. Now you don't need it, and you would at the end you just get sum of g. And when you I think something is, oh, I didn't add I equals I plus 1, I plus 1, and it's giving you 8,610. And if you want to display g, oh, it's uppercase g, it's gonna give you all the values 3, 12, 27, which are these values actually. Okay, so I can control how many terms I wanna use here. But if I wanna do the looping so that I wanna stop when this sum equals 2000, as what I'm asking in this part, to how many terms in the series in problem 1 are required to get the sum of the terms to exceed the 2000, the first number that's added to make the sum more than 2000. So here it's gonna be kind of tough, because you're gonna be like doing some iterations. So I'll try 15, and the sum is 3700. Still I need to get back more, so it's 12. No, it is 13. So this is what we should get. But you see, when I did this run, it took me some time, because I was kind of trying to figure out where exactly is this number. But what we can do is to use what we call the while loop. That takes care of everything. Make sure that both are kind of similar, but both work in different ways, and that's why you have to make sure that the syntax that you write is suitable for what you are using, which tool you're using out of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say that while let's call the sum uppercase s or just lowercase s less than 2000. Okay, you will calculate k 3k power 2. So first I need to start with a value of k and a value of sum. Okay, and then I will say that k I will calculate any term, for instance d, which is gonna be 3 multiplied by k power 2. And then so this is going to be for k equals 1, so the d equals 3k power 2, which is the first term in the series, which is corresponding to this term. Okay, and then what we are doing now is I'm going to say the sum equals the old sum plus plus d. Okay, so this is just think how MATLAB will work. So it starts with k equals 1, s equals 0, and then the sum, it will check on this condition. Yeah, it is smaller than 2000. Then the d equals 3 multiplied by k power 2, and the new sum is the old sum, which is 0 plus the 3k power 2. This is exactly what we did before in the for loop, and then we move to other thing, and then we will go back and or return to the loop and check on this condition. If it should be 3, so 3 is smaller than 2000, then it's gonna do the looping more and more until it's done. You want to make sure that the k will increase each time. So I have to k equals k plus 1. And then you should be ready now to see what is the sum. So if we run the code now, I will call it while 1. It's going to be 2457. So it's giving exactly the same output that we are expecting. Let's say you want to know exactly how many or what are the terms and what are the values of the terms, then you need to save this. So you can add a new counter, which is I equals 1. Or you can actually use k, but because in this case k and I are gonna be the same numbers, but this is not always the case. Let's make them 2 in case you want to start with k with another value, so you have two different counters. So I'm gonna say that this k equals 1 and I equals 1, so it's gonna be d of I, which is gonna be 3 multiplied by k power 2. And in this case, if you wanna display the d, then oops, nope. Oh, I didn't add I equals I plus 1. It's a very common mistake. Um, I think, oh, it should be d of I. Yeah, so the mistake I did now is that I added s to d, and d in the first loop it was just a single value, but in the second loop it was a matrix of 2, and you cannot add a single or a scalar to a matrix, so that's why I have to say that I'm adding this to the last value of d. Okay, so this is the output that I got. I can compare this to what we have on Microsoft Excel. Where it is here. So it is 3, 12, 27, 48, 75, 108, 147, 192, and all the way till 507, and this is 2457. So this is way easier than doing it this way. You remember this way I had to change the terms one by one until I reached the right number of terms, but here I didn't need to do that. I just put the condition because this is the way I am seeking to end the loop, is to tell exactly how many terms I need to reach this value or to exceed this value. So make sure that there are very important points to keep in mind. First, the counters that you put here. It's important to put these counters. It's always also important to put an initial value for the terms that you're using. For the for loop, you didn't need to put this because the what you're checking on the for loop was just the numbers that you are going to use. So you do not need to have an initial value first, but here you do need to have an initial value to start the process of the iteration, or the looping. So it will check first on a value of s, and then it will check on the values of s based on what you have here. You also need to have a value that is changing here. For instance, if you didn't change the value of s for any reason and do the run, it's doing what's called an infinite loop. So you cannot see it on the video now, but behind my photo it's saying busy, because it is doing a lot of iterations, and there is no sign that the condition is fulfilled, so it stops the looping. So once you reach an infinite loop, you can just in the command window press Control and this will terminate the operation. So it's pretty important to put a condition that is changing inside the loop that will end the looping at some point. It doesn't matter after 10,000 100 loops, but it has to have the condition fulfilled. This is all for this video. In the next video, we'll resolve the examples that we solved before for about the friction factor that we use the for loop. We will do it one time with the while loop, so we can get the idea better. So I'll see you then. Goodbye.